Hey everyone, and welcome to this explainer. Today, we're essentially putting on our stethoscopes, rolling up our sleeves, and opening up the absolute ultimate medical toolkit for diagnosing organizational ailments. Think about it. If your company is a patient, how do you know what's really making it sick? Better yet, how do you know exactly what treatment to apply? Well, let's find out.
Now, I want you to really think about this for a second. Why do scratch that. Why do incredibly smart companies with killer products suddenly just miss their targets? It's a completely frustrating reality for so many leaders. When those numbers drop, you might automatically assume it's a shifting market, maybe an aggressive new competitor, or just a universally bad quarter. But what if the sickness is actually coming from inside the house?
Okay, let's dive into this. The source material points out a massive, and I mean absolutely huge trap that organizations fall into over and over again, making the wrong assumptions about why they fail to hit their targets. We end up prescribing a treatment before we even know the disease. So today, we're going to look at 6 highly specific diagnostic frameworks to stop the guesswork, eliminate those wrong assumptions, and actually figure out what is going on under the hood of your business.
Section 1. Checking the core vitals. So, let's ask our first big diagnostic question. Is your culture actually what leadership claims it is? I mean, we've all seen the classic mismatch, right? The corporate career page advertises this utopian, ego-free family of innovators, while the reality for employees on a random Tuesday involves literally fighting over the last stale donut in a high-stress pressure cooker. To really test that reality, we use what's called an organizational culture assessment. This puts a microscope directly on the true employee experience to see if everyday practices actually match the company's stated values. It effectively separates the glossy marketing brochure from the reality on the ground. But hey, what if the culture actually checks out? What if people really are aligned with the values, but your teams are still stumbling? Well, then we have to ask, what are the hidden barriers to our goals? You see, there are often systemic blockages lurking just beneath the surface, and they're actively slowing down even the happiest and most aligned of teams. And this brings us to our second tool, the Organizational Needs Assessment. This diagnostic gathers data from diverse perspectives across the entire company to pinpoint those exact hidden barriers to goal achievement. So, the crucial point is, by collecting a wide variety of viewpoints, leaders prevent those exact wrong assumptions we talked about earlier. Instead of just guessing why targets are being missed, they get the hard data needed from all levels to tackle challenges head-on and maximize success. Now, a quick heads up. People often mix up the next tool with the culture assessment we just covered. Let's keep them straight. On one hand, the culture assessment evaluates values versus reality. But on the other hand, the organizational health assessment analyzes resilience and operational structures. Essentially, one is about how people feel and act, and the other is about how the operational machine handles stress. Let's look a bit closer at that organizational health assessment. A genuinely healthy organization is defined by its strong performance and, crucially, its resilience when faced with sudden changes and external challenges. This assessment deeply analyzes structural design, management practices, and the employee experience. Why? To understand exactly what changes and resources the company needs to strengthen itself against future shocks. It's all about bouncing back. Section 2. Evaluating the brain trust. Okay, so if your core vitals are looking great, but you're still falling behind, we really have to look at the people inside the building and ask, do we have the skills for tomorrow's business needs? Because the skills an organization requires of its employees absolutely do not stay static. They shift constantly based on business demands. The hard truth is, the capabilities that brought you success yesterday won't necessarily power your growth tomorrow. And this brilliantly illustrates where the organizational skills assessment comes in. Think of it like a massive inventory check. It maps out your workforce's existing skills and completely reveals the gaps between those current capabilities and what the company actually needs to achieve its short and long-term objectives. But, skills on the front line just aren't enough if the very top of the hierarchy is broken. We have to be brave enough to ask a pretty tough question here. Are unqualified leaders impeding our success? The source material makes it abundantly clear that unqualified leaders act as severe bottlenecks. They actively impede success no matter how highly skilled the rest of the workforce might be. To diagnose and actually fix this, we deploy an organizational leadership assessment.
Not only does this root out unqualified leaders by gauging their effectiveness in different areas, but it also detects untapped potential. It highlights crucial growth areas for your existing leaders, which helps you build a highly viable, strong leadership pipeline for the future.
Section 3. Preventative Care and Hazards.
Now we have to scan the horizon and ask, what unseen hazards threaten our business? Because early awareness, that is everything. It is literally the ultimate preventative medicine. It gives you the crucial time you need to prepare for threats before they actually strike your operations.
And that brings us to the final tool in our kit, the organizational risk assessment. This framework identifies those potential dangers to the business, but it goes a vital step further by mathematically and systematically analyzing their likelihood and their frequency. With this highly specific info on how often and how likely a hazard is to occur, leaders can make informed, strategic decisions to either completely mitigate or entirely eliminate those negative consequences.
Section 4, your next strategic steps. Let's move to and see how this builds to wrap up our metaphorical checkup and get you an actionable summary. Because this is your ultimate diagnostic cheat sheet. Here are your 6 assessments mapped directly to their core outcomes. Culture matches your values to reality. Needs find your hidden barriers. Health builds structural resilience. Skills perform your critical gap analysis. Leadership builds your future pipeline. And risk mitigates upcoming hazards. Identifying the specific operational symptom your company is facing is genuinely the only way you can apply the exact right cure from this toolkit. I want to leave you with this final, truly provocative thought to consider as we wrap up this explainer. What hidden barriers would you uncover if you comprehensively assessed your team today? Seriously, it is time to stop making the wrong assumptions based on surface-level symptoms. Take these tools, start actively diagnosing your own organizational health, and find out what's really holding your targets back. Thank you so much for learning with me today, and I'll catch you on the next one.